Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful Friday, and we are absolutely buzzing with the latest Port Charles. Grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's dive deep into the madness we just witnessed. We have so much to unpack today, and trust us, you do not want to miss a single second of this breakdown. The gavel falls, but the echo in that courtroom isn't justice. It's the sound of a dynasty shattering. In a single, breathless second, the momentum violently swings, leaving a devastated husband holding handcuffs and a freed man staring at the absolute malice of a woman he thought he knew. The impossible choices have finally arrived, and Port Charles will never be the same. I mean, we all knew Curtis Ashford's trial was going to be an absolute circus, right? We knew the stakes were sky high. But this, I am screaming. I need to talk about this with people who actually get it, because if I try to explain this to my coworkers tomorrow, they are going to think I've completely lost my mind. I'm sorry, but did Brooklyn Quartermain really just do that? Let me back up. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself because the adrenaline is still absolutely coursing through my veins. Okay, back to the point. Let's set the stage for this absolute masterpiece of daytime television. We have Curtis Ashford, a man who has been pushed to the absolute brink, sitting at the defense table. He rejected that 2-year plea deal, which, let's be honest, was a massive gamble. Marshall and Stella were practically vibrating with dread in the gallery. Curtis was looking at serious, hard time in Pentonville, all because of that altercation with Isaiah Gannon. And Isaiah? Oh, Isaiah has been parading around Port Charles, playing the ultimate victim, ready to nail Curtis to the wall and slide right into that daddy spot with baby Desmond. He even hired Rick Lansing for a massive civil suit. The tension in that courtroom was so thick you could cut it with a scalpel. And then, the prosecution calls their witnesses, and the defense makes their moves. But the absolute wildest wildcard in this entire deck is Drew Cain. Yes, Drew Cain. The man who has been locked in his own body, paralyzed and secretly tortured by his own wife, Willow. We all know the twisted, dark reality of their marriage right now. We know Willow has been dosing him with paralytics from Jen Sidwell. We know Drew is fully mobile again and plotting a scorched earth revenge against him. So, when Drew takes the stand, I am literally gripping the edges of my... I am thinking, this is it. This is the moment Drew burns Willow to the ground in front of the entire town and exposes her for the monster. But what does he do? He lies. He flat out lies under oath to protect the woman who has been making his life a living hell. Drew looks the judge, the jury, and the entire gallery dead in the eye and testifies that Willow was at home the night of Jordan and Curtis's horrifying car crash on Route 91. He claims that Detective Joe Fitzpatrick completely misunderstood his blinks when he was locked in. I was screaming at my TV, "Why are you protecting her, Drew?" But then, the sheer evil brilliance of it hits me. Drew isn't protecting Willow out of the goodness of his heart. Oh no. This is calculated. This is a man who knows that if Willow goes down for the hit and run, she goes down on the PCPD's terms. Drew wants to destroy her on his terms. He is playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He wants her isolated. He wants her to feel as helpless as he did in that hospital bed. By clearing her name in this specific instance, he becomes her savior in the eyes of the law, which only tightens his psychological grip on her. It's a masterclass in manipulation, and I am eating up every single crumb of this dark Drew era. So, Drew gives Willow this massive alibi. And you can see the visible relief wash over Willow's face in the gallery. She actually thinks she's safe. But the trial isn't over. Not by a long shot. Because Martin Gray is up next. And let me tell you, I have been watching GH since 2015, and whenever Martin Gray starts pacing the courtroom with that slick, southern charm, you know somebody is about to get completely eviscerated. Martin starts picking apart the prosecution's narrative. He starts digging into the timeline of the crash, the missing pieces, the doctored GPS logs. He is a bloodhound on a scent, and he is circling the truth with terrifying precision. Now, let's pan over to Brooklyn Quartermain sitting in the gallery. My God, the camera work here was phenomenal. The tight close-ups on BLQ's face as the panic sets in were award-worthy. You could practically hear her heartbeat thumping through the screen. Because Brook Lynn knows the truth. We know the truth. Brook Lynn was the driver. She was the one who forced Jordan and Curtis off the road that rainy night. She was the one who kept driving, leaving them bleeding and broken in an exploding car. And worse, She teamed up with Brick to doctor Willow's SUV GPS to frame Willow for the whole thing. I know some people are loving this dark, villainous era for Brooklyn, but personally, I have been so frustrated with. How do you frame an innocent woman? Well, okay, Willow is far from innocent in other areas, but innocent of this crime, and just go about your day adopting a baby and playing happy family with Harrison. It has been driving me insane. Tracy Quartermain knew it. Tracy literally told her to pack her bags and get out of town because this was going to blow up. But Brooklyn stayed. Because she thought she was smarter than the system. She thought her Quartermain privilege would shield her from the consequences of a near double homicide. But sitting in that courtroom, listening to Martin Gray connect the dots, listening to the timeline being ripped apart, Brooklyn starts to crack. You can see the sheer, suffocating terror taking over her entire body. She's clutching her purse, her breathing is shallow, her eyes are darting around the room like a trapped animal. She realizes that Martin isn't just defending Curtis, he's actively dismantling the frame-up. The pressure is building, 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 and I am literally standing up in my living room yelling, "She's going to snap! She's going to snap!" And she does. In the middle of the proceedings, in a moment of pure, unadulterated, catastrophic loss of control, Brooklyn Quartermain stands up and screams. She just starts wailing, crying hysterically, and the words come tumbling out of her mouth like a dam break. I did it. It was me. I was the driver. The sound of her voice echoing off the wood-paneled walls of the courtroom will haunt me. The entire courtroom freezes. The judge is stunned. Curtis looks like he's been hit by a freight train. And Brooklyn just keeps going, sobbing out the entire ugly truth. She confesses to being the driver. She confesses to leaving the scene. She confesses to framing Willow and rigging the GPS evidence. She lays it all out, right there on the polished courtroom floor. I mean, I hate Brooklyn for this. But wait, do I? Honestly, part of me pities her, because the guilt has clearly been eating her alive from the inside. No, I definitely hate her for leaving them to burn. You don't just leave people in a wrecked car and then frame your husband's ex-wife. The absolute chaos that erupted in that gallery was deafening. The judge is slamming the gavel, demanding order, but there is no order to be found. Brooklyn collapses into her seat, burying her face in her hands, her shoulders heaving with violent sobs. It wasn't a calculated confession, it was a total psychological break. But the most gut-wrenching, cinematic, tragic part of this entire scene, Harrison Chase. Poor, noble, blind Harrison Chase. He is standing right there in his police uniform. The man who has spent weeks investigating this. The man who defended Willow's honor against his own wife's accusations. The man who just finalized the adoption of baby Phoebe with the woman currently sobbing out a felony confession. Chase has to be the one to do it. The bailiffs move in, but Chase is right there. The look of absolute devastation and betrayal on his face as he pulls out his hand. Give the man an Emmy right now. He literally has to cuff his own wife. In front of the entire town. In front of her family. He clicks those metal cuffs around Brooklyn's wrists and you can see his entire world, his marriage, his future, just disintegrating into dust. I cannot handle the angst. It is so deliciously tragic. How do they ever come back from that? They don't. There is no coming back from watching your cop husband arrest you for a felony hit and run and framing his ex. And what about Curtis? Amidst all this explosive drama, the judge has no choice. The prosecution's case is in shambles. The true culprit of the crash has just confessed to a massive cover-up, and the narrative around Isaiah's injuries shifts in. Curtis is acquitted. He is a free man. He gets to walk out of those double doors and go home to Portia and baby Desmond. He doesn't have to spend years in Pentonville. You would think this would be the happiest moment of his life. But Curtis is just standing there, utterly shell-shocked. Because yes, he's free, but the sheer malice of what Brooklyn did is sinking in. Brooklyn let Curtis and Jordan burn. She let them nearly die. And then she sat back and let Willow take the fall, allowing Curtis to direct all his rage and legal panic at the wrong person while she played the supportive friend. The betrayal Curtis feels right now has to be astronomical. He works for Aurora, he is tied to these families, and to know that a Quartermain treated his life with such callous disregard? Oh, Curtis is not going to just let this go. He might be free from prison, but his war with the Quartermains is probably just beginning. Am I the only one who thinks this is exactly what Drew Kane wanted all along? Think about it. Drew knew Brooklyn was guilty. Drew told Brooklyn earlier this month that the Quartermains would lose everything. By testifying for Willow, Drew forced the pressure back onto the real culprit. He forced the PCPD and Martin Gray to look elsewhere. Drew practically orchestrated Brooklyn's public breakdown without ever having to lift a finger. It is brilliant. It is evil. It is peak soap opera drama, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. But seriously, what happens to baby Phoebe now? Brooklyn and Chase literally just sealed the deal on this adoption. Alexis Davis handed them the papers. And now the adoptive mother is being hauled off to the PCPD in handcuffs for multiple felonies. That poor baby is caught in the middle of this absolute hurricane. And with Ethan Lovett's fake DNA test still hovering out there, Phoebe's situation is a ticking time bomb. Chase is going to be left raising a baby alone while his wife faces years behind bars. And let's not forget the Michael Corinthos factor in all of this. Michael has been scheming for weeks to push Willow and Chase into an affair. He's been waiting for the perfect moment to strike and claim full custody of Wiley and Amelia. With Brooklyn out of the picture and Chase emotionally devastated, Michael's path is suddenly wide open. He is going to use Chase's vulnerability to push him right into Willow's arms, creating the ultimate. Michael is acting like a ruthless corporate raider at deception, and now he's going to act like a ruthless emotional raider in his personal. It's despicable, but I can't look away. And Willow. Oh, Willow is sitting there playing the victim now, looking like the wronged innocent party because her name is cleared of the crash. But we know the truth about her too. We know she was paralyzing her husband. The irony of Willow being framed for a crime she didn't commit, while getting away with the horrific crime she is committing, is just chef's kiss. It's poetic injustice. The ripple effects of Brooklyn's courtroom confession are going to touch every single character on this. I am exhausted. My heart is pounding. This is why I have been watching this show for years. Just when you think a storyline is going to drag on until November sweeps, they pull the rug out from under you in the middle of August. I am dreading the fallout for Chase, because I love him, but I am so here for the absolute destruction of Brooklyn's hubris. She played with fire, she played with people's lives, and now she is going to burn. And I will be sitting right here, popcorn in hand, watching the flames. Will Chase ever forgive Brooklyn? Or is this the final nail in their marriage's? Drop your wildest theories in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep the conversation going.